Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Jiayanu, Pakhairagale, Ni Hao, Tunashumbe, Washmale. Ohio Gonzalez, Guten Morgen, Hola, Boyo, Privyat, Kaifa Hal? Hale Shuma Chatore, Ahlan Basalam Marhaba, Buna, Mucho Gracias, Swabi, Abballi Karaya, Hosh Galden, Nayo Sayo, Huya Mora, Chivato, Chi Hajud, Kalimera, Kherutan. And a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Misaja Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Haja, Assalamu Alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum Assalam. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. I think I am feeling very, very uplifting today because it rained, I think, at night, and Islamabad is looking very beautiful, very pretty. And when I was driving from my home to the office, so there was an amazing sun that was glowing in all its glory. And Shahzad, I have been going through some of the literature, and I came across some very interesting spiritual points, and it talked about it talked about how, so for example, human brain has this capacity that it is constantly thinking about something. So, you're constantly coming across lots of thoughts, right? And you're mindlessly thinking about lots of thoughts. Like, it's like there are lots of tabs that are open in your mind, in your brain, and you're constantly thinking about it. But the problem arises is when we start to give stories to each and every thought, and we make sure that thoughts are stuck into our body, whether it's heart, whether it's stomach, or somewhere else, right? So make sure that you always listen to your body and do not give too much attention to all of these thoughts, because the incessant chatter of your mind, of your thoughts inside is I think taking away the magnificence of your soul. And if you are able to conquer all of these thoughts and have the calmness inside you, the inner calmness, then you are connected to your higher self, then you are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is the state that is worth having it, and that is the state where you reaches the spiritual enlightenment. And there are lots of methods through which you can actually attain this state. Obviously it requires a lot of effort, because self-care routine, your self-care rituals are should be a non-negotiable part of your day. So make sure that you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes where you go and where you practice meditation. Just calmly listen to everything that is around you, right? And if there are thoughts that are crossing your heart, make sure that you are observing them as an observer, right? And when you attain the state, at first, I mean, you might find some difficulty, but with the practice, you will try to conquer that. And I think that is where, in this incessant world where there's lots of chatter, where there's lots of distraction, you will find an inner calmness and peace, and which is what we are striving here on this side.
Exactly, right? And thank you so much for, for kind of alluding it to non-negotiable part of it as well, because this is something which I've always been very vocal about. In fact, our entire team. So imagine when we talk about self-care, ladies and gentlemen, most of the time what happens is that we do have a set routine, we are disciplined, we go to the gym, we work out, we do know that we're not going to have any sugar or not excessive sugar or whatnot, so whatever your routine may probably be. So imagine what happens is that most of the time it's your friends, Johnny, aaj bhai ke liye gym nahi chhodega, bhai nahi chhodunga main. I think this is one thing that you should actually be able to do, that you should be able to say no to. Because imagine that, that whichever gym I go to, imagine, so whatever my monthly fee is, I have to pay more than that, because of the fact that all of my friends who are there when I'm supposed to go to the gym, I'll drag them to the gym. So I'm not telling them to sit back home or wait for me or whatnot. I'm like, okay, if I am going to be fit, I would want my friends to be fit as well. And in addition to this, I think we've always advocated about it, that when you have certain values, morals, please make sure that you abide by them. Please make sure that your friends cannot take away even an inch of that. It's important for you to be there for your friends. Unfortunately, if it's an emergency or if it's an occasion of happiness or festivity, please make sure that you take out time. Try managing. I think that's something that everybody needs to do, and having this connection with higher self. So imagine, just yesterday I was sitting down, I was like, Allah, it'll be so nice to see my daughters running around in a lawn, and it'll be so magnificent and whatnot. And all of a sudden the thought came across my mind that, why don't you pray to Allah Almighty, and that's it. And this is exactly what I did right after thinking that I was being a Sheikh Chili myself. And where you've spoken about tabs, I'm very sorry, but it's on a lighter note. There's no gender discrimination in it, but it comes from a very famous comedian. He says that when men, what happens in men's brain is that, that they will have a different cupboard for every characterization of the life. So imagine that, if you have to pay fee bills, there's a separate drawer for that. If you have to, for your family, there's a separate drawer. For your parents, there's a separate drawer. So what will happen is that whenever we will come across a thought, you know, for example, if it's the feeble, you know, our neurons are going to travel to the feeble board, and you know, it'll take out the feeble, close it, and that's it. You know, that's the kind of thought process.
True.
But you know, this comedian says that with women, what happens is that they're going to open all the cupboards, and then you know, it's more of a lot of tabs as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure. I think what Haja wanted to say was that you do not overthink, and there's no. I don't think that anybody can get anything out of overthinking as well. The only thing that you need to think about is Allah करने वाला है, आज तक Allah ने किया और आगे भी Allah ही करेगा इंशाल्लाह. That's it.
That is the power of tawakkul. Thank you so much for saying that. And what I mean to say is, for example, if you go to psychiatric ward and you will find that there are lots of patients who are constantly talking, right? Or in other words, there are a lot of mad people who are constantly talking, right? And so if you find yourself in your brain, you're actually doing the same. You're not verbally saying it out, but in your brain, you are doing the same, right? So if you are able to conquer or tackle all of these thoughts and have that inner calmness inside you, so I think that is the state that is worth striving for. That is exactly your spiritual enlightenment, and you will find that you are connected to your maker, you are connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and from that you will find that magnificence of your soul.
True.
That is often taken by, and it's lost by brain, because your brain keeps telling you a lot of negative stuff. And brain has a bias towards the negative self-talk. I mean, it wants to protect you from the dangers, from the harms, and there's all emotional trauma that keeps coming up. But make sure that you overshine your soul, because your soul is actually connected to your consciousness. It is connected to your higher self, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is where the magnificence of the human shines through. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to humans that they are the crown jewel of the creation.
Exactly, and most of the times I think this is something which people, you know, find it difficult to understand.
True.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can attain it by having faith, by having tawakkul. I think these are the two words. You know, so if you have this, ladies and gentlemen, you will have, or you will experience that magnificence, you know, as Haja has actually mentioned about it, of your soul as well. But now let's come down towards these very worldly affairs, you know, where there are a lot of people who are making us proud, who are making Pakistan proud. The daughters of the soil are making Pakistan proud. And Haja, for me, it was a surprise to see that how there is a school system which exists within the KPK only, with 26 branches, and they're sending their students to NASA. You know, not just that they're sending them to their space center, but they're sending them to Rice University for different competitions. And all of this is happening at a school level. It's not even a university. So ladies and gentlemen, imagine for our students to go over there and learn alongside people from 22 different nationalities is something different. But that's not it. Imagine that they were part of the competition where they won and made Pakistan proud. What was it all about? Ladies and gentlemen, that's something that we were talking about. We're very lucky that we've been joined by two amazing individuals over here who've been making Pakistan proud by the kind of work that they've put in while they were in United States of America representing the Peace Group of Schools and Colleges. First up, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by Ms. Wafa Haider. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, I'm fine. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here.
Thank you.
And joining Wafa, we also have, we're very glad that we have been joined by another beauty in the brain and also a very amazing student. She happens to be Fatma Saqib. Assalamu alaikum, Fatma, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Walaikum assalam, thank you.
So you guys made us proud. Please tell us about what was your achievement about, and enlighten our audiences about how was your visit? How did you find the US? Yes, Fatma, go ahead.
First, this test was actually introduced by our college. We first qualified the preliminary round and then qualified for the global final that was to be held in the Houston.
And what was
Texas.
This competition about?
Like, there were two fields, natural science and physics and astronomy. We both applied for the physics and astronomy. And then we went to Houston to participate in the global final, and I also got the bronze medal in that.
That's wonderful, amazing.
Wow, and what about you, Wafa?
I got the honorable mention certificate.
Honorable mention certificate that you were there and that you were a part of that competition. We will be sharing pictures as well. So I think it is very interesting. So let's go step by step. First of all, you know, let's talk about peace schools, you know, the Peace Group of Schools and Colleges, because it only exists within Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There are 26 different branches, and this is for the very first time that I've heard that schools are actually taking their students to, you know, NASA Space Center, Rice University, rocket competitions and whatnot. So how was it for you guys, and for you guys or your parents to decide that you guys will study at Peace schools? How did that happen? You know, so let's get started with that.
Actually, I really wanted to study at Peace from the beginning, but I never got the opportunity to apply there because every time I wouldn't know about the registration date that when the entry test is. But finally, I got the chance to get the admission, and I did so. And later, it wasn't even like 4 months since I've been there, and suddenly they told us that you have this competition, so if you guys want to apply, you guys can. So at first nobody applied, but our physics teacher, she motivated us to apply, but girls weren't very interested at all. So only 5 girls applied, and we got qualified, and then we went to Houston, and later on they all were like, oh God, we should have applied as well.
But what was the competition about? You know, what was your project about? Tell us the details about it.
It was a physics and astronomy contest. It was all related to physics and astronomy.
It was most of a test as well, right?
Yeah, it had 20 multiple choice questions and 5 numericals, and it had 3 categories: category 1, category 2, and category 3.
Wow, wonderful! And you guys pretty much nailed it as well, which is why
were you interested in physics when you were growing up?
I've always loved physics, and unfortunately I didn't really like chemistry, so I think I struggle a little bit in chemistry and mathematics, but physics I've always loved it as well. But while we were talking about it, and that that you guys got to travel to Houston, that's wonderful, and that I would like to congratulate your parents as well, because they are the ones who actually made sure that you will be able to travel to Houston, because qualifying is something which your school did for you guys, and then the entire trip was sponsored by your parents as well. Now when we come down to your parents understanding that, hey, you know what, our daughters are going to be representing Pakistan, how were they feeling before that you called them that, hey daddy, I won a bronze medal, hey daddy, I've got an honorable mention? How was it? What was their response when you told them that I've qualified and I need to go to Houston?
They were proud, like from the very first. When I passed the preliminary round, they were like so happy and ignoring all the financial problems. They sponsored me. They always motivated me. You should go. You should go. And like they encouraged me like at all the stages.
Exactly. So is there anything special that you would like to say to your parents? You can look into the camera, talk to them. I think this is the occasion. Maji, rona nahi hai, please. Okay, khushi ka mauka hai.
I love you.
I think that's wonderful. Papa, would you like to say anything to your parents? And what was their first reaction when they got to know that you've been selected and that you will be participating and representing Pakistan in Houston, United States of America?
First of all, I want to say I'm really very grateful to have parents like you, because there are very few people in KPK who support daughters. So you supported me from the very beginning till the last moment, and you still do so. I really love you for that, and I'm really grateful to you.
And you guys are the ambassadors of change as well, and for everybody who's out there, I think that that their parents have really set an example as well, and everybody needs to follow their footsteps. And in addition to this, I think now what we'll do is that we are going to show pictures of your trip to Houston, where you are at the NASA Space Center or Rice University, and you can take us through what did you guys learn over there, how different was it. So can we please have the pictures first of all?
And also they attended a water rocket workshop, right? Yeah. So we want to all know that what is that workshop was about and how was your experience, and obviously cross-cultural communications where you're going to different culture, where you're going interacting with different set of people is always a very interesting interaction, right? So tell us about it.
Yeah, and very sorry, but the pictures are over there as well. So let's get started with the NASA Johnson Space Center, Houston. How was it? How was the experience? So, I've always loved to go over there. Unfortunately,
it was really interesting and really fun.
Also, you need to share the interesting bit of it. That what did you like the most?
What was the fun moment at that part?
Touching the piece of the moon. Actually,
what is exactly that about? Tell us about.
Actually, there were many sections like Mission to Mars section, the lunar section, the spacecraft section. First, we actually attended the show where we got to know that how like astronauts live in the space, how they work, how they drink, how they eat, how they exercise. And then
was that motivating for you?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was really interesting.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like a very different day life routine actually. Right. So then we went to the lunar section where we got to know about the recent lunar missions of the NASA, and there we touched the piece of the moon.
How was it? You're touching the piece of the moon. Imagine that you need to be so blessed to be able to be on Earth and that you're touching a piece of the moon already.
Yes.
How was it? touching different celestial bodies. I don't know whether they were meteorites, or there's so many different types of celestial bodies. So how was it for you? And then for you to share it with your friends. How was it? Did people kind of agree to what you were telling them, or they were in a denial? Ki nahi yaar, aap jhoot bol rahe ho, aise kaise ho sakta hai? Things like that.
I took pictures of it, so they can't deny it actually.
How big was the piece?
No, it was like this.
A little bit.
It was a rock actually.
Imagine what people are doing here. They're taking away pieces of moon as well. Please don't do that. Let it be the way it is. True. Yeah, what about you, Wafa?
I really felt like it was something so dreamy. Like I couldn't even imagine I'm standing on Earth, but I'm touching a piece of moon.
Yeah.
So the first thought that came to my mind was like, wait, let me flex with my friends.
That's nice.
That's amazing. So what was the fun moment about it?
You know, the feeling that I can't believe this.
Right.
And we even went to, you know, Humble Observatory, where we even watched Jupiter and its moon and some constellations.
Right.
So all that was really unbelievable, that wow, we're standing on Earth and we're seeing all these celestial objects, we're touching them. So wait, let me go back to Pakistan and let me flex with my friends.
Wow, that's wonderful.
amazing.
But does that motivate you guys to do better, to be at the forefront of the space affairs over here in the country and to kind of study in that direction? Because I guess that's something that, you know, as a kid I would have brought back, that, you know, okay, so if I've been touching the moon over here on my planet Earth, why not go up there and land on moon, you know, things like that. So do you think that you are now planning to be a part of the space program of the country Pakistan that we represent?
Yeah, seeing so much space-related content. Actually, I'm really interested in astronomy from my childhood.
Oh, interesting.
So if I ever got a chance, I will definitely apply in astronomy.
Is it going to be NASA or is it going to be SpaceX? I think that's the question which people need to answer now, because I believe SpaceX have always, you know, come up with very feasible solutions. So imagine that now NASA actually gives contracts to SpaceX to build their rockets so that they could utilize it. So which one do you think is better? Is it SpaceX or is it NASA now?
I think SpaceX.
It's SpaceX. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that.
Also tell us about your workshop, you know, which you attended at the Rice University. What was it about and what was your experience?
After we took exam at Rice University, we went to Horizon School. There we attended the workshop. It was a rocket launching workshop where we made rockets from plastic water bottles.
Wow.
And then we launched like them. we
How far
launched
did it
them.
go? How far did it go?
Like it
They
was a
fly high?
football ground, so it went to the last, I think so.
Wow. So in a football ground, imagine that, you know, if you launch a rocket from one goalpost to another one, there needs to be quite a lot. Was the bottle really big? Because we used to make, you know, such rockets over here as well. So imagine what we used to do was that we used to take like 1.5 liter plastic bottle of these soda drinks that we get in the market. Then we would go to the tire shop guy and we would put like a washel on top of it as well. Then we would fill in air, and then as soon as we release it, it used to go up as well. You know, it was a cheap one, and that's how we used to make kites as well, you know, with the shopping bags that we used to get. So I think it was interesting to see this as well. But now for you guys that you guys have participated, how do you think that your school, Peace School, a group of schools and colleges, is actually setting your tone to achieve much more than what you have done already?
Actually, first of all, I'm really grateful to them because they just don't only focus on our academic growth. They focus on our personality grooming. They they conduct these international tests every now and then. Every day our WhatsApp group is just full of these contests. Even recently our 24 students from our school have qualified for the Cambridge scholarship, you know.
Yeah,
and
I heard about it.
Yeah. So some are giving for 4-year scholarships, some are giving for 2.5 years.
And 2 or 5 students will actually get like a 100% paid scholarship program at Cambridge University. Wow, I think your school truly deserves a big round of applause, and for all the teachers and the visionaries who are behind it. Please continue.
So I think it's one of the best.
Are you participating in it?
No.
Why? Don't you want to go to Cambridge
Actually, the
University?
test was conducted last year.
Okay, it was conducted.
So they got the scholarship this year.
So what about you?
So Fatma wanted to
Actually, Peace is the best option in KPK. Like, they focus on our co-curricular activities, sports activities, academic growth, like everything. So
and when it comes down to studying, you know, because physics is not an easy subject. So imagine that, you know, is the methodology very different of how they teach, or is it just like any normal blackboard teacher and students?
And also tell us about both of you about your future prospects. So do you have some clarity what do you want to be when you grow up? Because these sort of interactions always give you clarity, a more broader horizon, a scope to grow, and especially what do you want to be when you grow up?
In my opinion, interest in sciences really depend upon teachers, their methodology.
Yes, that's
so
true.
our physics teacher, like, she teaches us very interestingly. So
that's amazing.
And I really want to be a doctor when I grow up.
Oh, that's
you really
amazing.
want to be a doctor? Well, that's something which I was about to, you know, I was anticipating that this is going to come out at
like,
some
no
point.
family pressure, it's my own choice.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
wonderful.
That's amazing. So
And,
what about
and
you?
when you're going to be a doctor, you know, which subject are you going to specialize in?
Zoology, I think so.
Urology? See,
Or nephrology.
or nephrology?
I'm going to be
Well,
nephrologist.
you know, I think I only understand what urology means. I think it's something related to kidneys.
Yes.
Yeah, and what about nephrology?
Nephrology is related to kidneys.
Nephrology, and what about urology then?
Neurology is related to brain.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I think that's neurology.
Yes.
Yeah. I thought that you were saying urology.
No.
Yeah.
I was saying nephrology.
Well, it's all right. You know, we would like to kind of wish you best of luck as well. And what about you, Wafa? What do you want to do to be when you grow up, inshallah?
I want to do something different. I'm, so tired of listening to this medical. Like, I ask any of my friends, what are you going to be in the future? And she's always like, I'm going to be a doctor. And I'm really tired of listening to this. At first, my mother was also like that. I really want you to become a doctor. And I was like, no, please, I don't want to become a doctor. Because, in Pakistan, everyone is like, I either want to be an engineer or a doctor. So I really want to choose something different.
I thought
what's different, I think that's something that we need to set the tone as well. Because most of the time it's very confusing. I'm that one particular person who've always thought about doing something different. Shukr alhamdulillah that I was able to do it. But most of the times you're very unaware. You're in your subconscious, you're not aware of the fact that where your life is going, how the direction is. I'm fine with this, alhamdulillah. But at times, what Haja was actually kind of mentioning right at the beginning, that you overthink and whatnot. So it kind of takes a toll on you. So because your parents would always ask, okay, Wafa bete, what different? So what different?
Actually, to be really honest, I'm debating it in my mind on it.
That's amazing.
I really like astronomy. I like fashion designing, and I'm really interested interested as well. And also, I'm talented at it. I'm really interested in art as well. So I'm debating what to do.
What are your hobbies? What do you do when you are in your leisure time? So I mean, that is also the point where you start to derive a lot of your passion, and you try to set the path straight for you. So apart from studying, obviously, which you are brilliant kids, you went to NASA. What do you do, both of you?
For me, actually, me and my brother, we always used to do, and even we still do experiments like taking out parts from his remote control cars and all those things, and doing experiments on them.
Engineering.
Do you guys put it back as well?
No.
I think I can recall one of my sisters as well. Every time I would have a remote control toy or a car at my place, she would just open it up and then that's it. There it is, because she couldn't put it back.
Again. I think that is why she's so successful, right? Amazing.
Nowadays, I'm spending my time in writing journals.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm just really interested.
Please meet Hajra. She writes journals too.
Okay, then.
Yes.
So I'm just writing about my daily life routine, my friends, and all that.
And that's very amazing because it gives you a clarity and it helps you identify a lot of patterns about yourself where you want to be. So it's always a great practice, and especially in a world which is so overly obsessed with all of these information overload, and where you are confused about all of these things. So
which is why I've like a few basic questions which I would want the world to kind of listen to the answers of it from your perspective, and that is that these are some basic questions which we have come across in our lives as well. So what do you think is success for you guys? So one by one. Let's start from here.
I think for me, it's the peace of mind that you get from what you are doing.
True.
I think you should really be interested in whatever you choose. If you don't, for example, if a parent is forcing his or her son to be a doctor and he's actually, let's say, interested in engineering, and so he wouldn't be a good doctor, as you know.
Yeah.
And he would be
building up your case, right?
No.
Okay.
My parents actually support me.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So the son wouldn't be actually a great doctor, and he would just play with the lives of people.
True.
So actually, the parents, wouldn't they be called as murderers then, like in their subconscious? So I think success is that you do what you like, but you should be sincere with it. The first thing.
So what you're trying to say over here is that that whatever your passion or whatever you're doing is that you need to do it with passion, that you need to love it from the bottom of your heart and then kind of get into it. And it's more of a blessing too as well, that people get to do something which they're very passionate about. What about you? So what is success for you?
In my opinion, if I am happy over the things that I have, I am successful.
Yeah.
Like if I am not obsessing over the things that I don't have, then I am not successful.
So are you happy about all the things that you have already?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
So both of you are successful ladies. Wonderful.
Amazing.
Now, very quickly towards the end, there's one last question, and that is that, to be successful is one thing, but how do you think that we can all be good people too as well, to each other?
To each other, I think it's a really problem with girls being jealous of each other. You're not able to see that others are successful, and in fact, you should just work hard on your own self, on your own dreams. So I think that's
and
really
enjoy
matters.
others' success as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What about you?
I think so, like avoiding the negative competitions, like whenever anybody is getting successful, there's so much negative competition, so much jealous comments. So people are rude. So
I think competition is one
I think
of
it's the college life that I'm kind of getting nostalgic about now.
There should be a healthy competition. So
I don't think that competitions are healthy, by the way. You know,
Yes.
I think that competitions should really be healthy, because then why is it a competition? It's not a friendly race that we're into.
no, like they should avoid their like rude behavior, the negative comments.
Yeah, obviously, everybody should be. I think pretty much, if I'm to sum it up in Urdu, इंसान का बच्चा बन के रहेंगे. I think that's what they're referring to.
एहसास करें.
Yeah, and very quickly, one last thing. I know my producer wants a break, but this is the kind of conversation that people need to hear, that what the kids of Pakistan are actually thinking. That is that, we always kind of are surrounded by those wise words that our parents tell us. So my parents would always tell me, ba the banasi, कि जो अपने माँ बाप की इज्जत करता है और उसको दुनिया में आखिर में कामयाबी मिलती है. What is that one thing which your parents say, and what is that one thing that your parents say that you guys remember always? Go on.
First of all, my mother always say this: the thing that you have to care about is your deen. That is the first thing. And the second thing is that never lie. She always tells me, and hard work. That's the three things she always tells me.
झूठ ना बोलो, दीन का ख्याल रखो, and
be sincere with whatever you do.
Exactly, wonderful. What about you?
My father always tell me that don't let other control your emotions.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
I think that's the best thing that
Yes.
your parents have told you as well. But thank you.
I am really emotional person, so
That's why he
okay,
keeps on
that's
saying
okay.
that.
or
That's
the second thing is एहसास करो. एहसास
That's-
करो.
अब्बू का, अम्मी का, या सबका?
सबका.
Okay, thank you so
That's
much. Thank you so much, Wafa. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Fatma,
much. Thank you so
for
much.
being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you guys. Thank you to your parents, because they trusted in you. You guys really kind of made Pakistan proud. Please make sure that you keep on doing that. Thanks to Peace group of schools and colleges as well, because that's the kind of education system that me and Hajra always vouched for. We always spoke about as well. At this point of time, we're actually heading out.
Anyway, there's a short break, and after we come back, we have a very interesting segment lineup. So please don't go anywhere.
More about
Good morning.
hospitality. Assalamualaikum, sir.
Before going on to the break, Shahzad alluded to the fact that we are going to talk about the hospitality sector, and in Pakistan we see that there is a lot of scope, especially in the hospitality sector, because there is a blooming tourism, especially within the country. In the northern areas, tourism is blooming. People want to see the beauties of the nature, they want to admire it, and we have someone who is going to talk us through what exactly hospitality management sectors in Pakistan are. And we were also witnessing that lots of universities are also offering courses, specialization, which was not existent before, and that speaks volume about how much this sector is blooming. So we are joined by someone who has an extensive 10 years experience of working in the international hospitality sectors, and now in Pakistan he's providing his services to Pakistan's local hospitality sector. So we are very glad that we have been joined by Feroz Jahangir Saab, who happens to be a consultant in the hospitality management. Assalamu alaikum, sir, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
And thank you very much indeed.
Sir, so you do have an extensive experience, for example, 10 years of experience that you have served in Doha, and I'm pretty sure you have observed lots of international hospitality practices there. And how do you compare and contrast them within the Pakistan especially?
Actually, you see, it has a lot of potential. People have to, they must understand. They think that hospitality is something that you will have maybe chicken curry or maybe cup of tea or coffee or tea. It is not like that. We should take it further, because it is, we have so many departments, and it is which is working very hard. And I can give you an example that it is like a gear train which is mashed together, and if God forbid one of the teeth gets damaged or broken, the whole train will come to a halt. So that is that is very important. And another example which I'll give you, which I think people would understand better, like if all of three of us go to one of the hotel, I'm not really naming it, one of the hotel, and XYZ, and we sit in a restaurant, and there is an international standard. The tea should be served within 10 minutes. The food should be, it has to be cooked with not more than 30 minutes, like it should be served. and you find that the food was very good, the service was lousy, or the service was good and the food was lousy, and you have to take into consideration the quality of food, the service, the attentiveness of the waiters, and the ambience. So all to be, we have to take in that perspective, which people unfortunately, I would say that we as a nation, we have to, it's not really a good word, but
I think we as customers have to learn as well. That,
exactly.
What is that service that we are actually kind of expecting from other people? Because what I've seen is, sir, when we go to the West, the hospitality sector over there is, unfortunately, but that we have to say it, but it's very developed, it's very progressive. You go to the entire Europe, there are millions of people coming in every week, every day, every month. Now imagine that they're so in tune with it that they will always make sure that the customer is always right. But rather over here that we come across situations that even if you go to a 5-star hotel, there'll be somebody who's serving you and he or she will end up arguing with you. There's does not really matter which hotel, which place you are at. Most of the time this is something that people do come across. Nahi sir, iski ijazat nahi hai. Nahi sir, ye nahi ho sakta. Nahi sir, ye nahi ho sakta. Then why are we even there? Because if it's going to be so many problems for us. Sir, gaadi idhar nahi khadi ho sakti. You cannot park over here. You cannot sit over there. You cannot stand over there. What's the point of us, going to get that service?
I will answer you, because it is all the mindset, because in the West, because if I just say one word, that they should think, like all the employees, they should think first of all that they must take the ownership, that it is their own place. It is not, owned by XYZ, a tycoon. True. And moreover, they must take it religiously. You pray 4-5 times a day, and you must think, get inculcated in your mind that we are all into job because of the guest.
True.
Because our salaries are being paid, and if guests are not there, not happy, then we are not there.
Seriously, like Shahzad mentioned, when you go to Europe, so it's an overly developed hospitality sector because tourists have been thronging to Europe and it's a very fascinating place. People are going there. But in Pakistan, it's newly developing. People are coming there, but obviously there's lots of opportunities to develop it and to learn from our own experiences. But when we talk about hospitality, already culinary experiences is one aspect of it, and it's a very defining aspect of it, the food that you serve, the ambience that you talked about. But there's so many other sectors that are associated with the hospitality sector. So for example, one of the things like Shahzad mentioned is how you behave with the people or how you behave with the tourists. And especially if you go to northern areas, the local community that are serving there, they're sort of the brand ambassadors of that particular area. Because if you want to ask them which particular place you want to go, what is the route you want to take there, so they're going to tell you because they're living there and they know lots of places. So how important is it to train also the local community there so that they are better able to regulate the hospitality services there?
Actually, you are very right. There is a lot of potential, and the only thing that the problem we are facing is that a lot of wealthy people are there, and we should not always look upon the government, that government should come forward.
Oh, yes,
because I tell you, because there should be, because the hospitality, if there are hospital, we don't need actually a 5-star or a luxury 5-star hotels, because nowadays a trend all over the world is that you go for if I'm just giving an example, if there is a 4-star hotel, it should be giving a service as a 5-star, and what we need is like a budget hotel, because it will attract, in terms of the budget, it will fit in the budget of the national tourism and international tourism, and you keep the standards very, very high of 5-star. And moreover, what is expected of the government is to provide the infrastructure like the road network,
and it is already there, and I think it's beautiful as well. But sir, very quickly, because this is something that we most of the times get confused about as well, and we friends end up arguing that okay, this hotel is a 5-star or not. So how many 5-star hotels do we actually have over here in our country? If you can count a few, don't name them, but how many in numbers?
I would say that I think it can be numbered. I would say it will be less than 100. I believe.
Less than 100 5-star hotels over here in the country.
Less than, I would say much. I would say I think probably it's the figure is more, I would say
the figure would be around 10 or 11.
It would be like, you are right, maybe 10 to 12, maybe 10 to 15.
But I think the way they categorize it, that's a very debatable and interesting aspect. But now let's talk about the tourism sector that is thriving, especially in the northern areas. And let's talk about the clean and green tourism and clean and green hospitality service, because Shehzad, you have the experience of going to northern areas, and if you cross Naran Kaghan, it was a very pristine environment, and people used to go there to observe the nature, to observe the beauty. But now there's such a mushrooming bazaar there that it is impacting the pristineness of that area, right? So how important is it that we regulate such sort of hospitality practices that do not encroach over the beauty of the nature, because this is the first reason people are going there, right? And if it is not there, so that hospitality sector is going to be affected.
And the other aspect is that, where we are talking about regulating it, why don't you think that, that it can be a best possible opportunity for the locals over there to be a part of the economy? So, both ways, how do you think?
And actually, also, I think one thing we also need to touch about it, I'm sorry, I'm interjecting, is about the waste disposable management, right? Because in northern areas, we don't see a very vibrant system there. People are throwing their shoppers there. I mean, the hospitality sector, there's lots of tons of garbage there, which is not being regulated, and it is going inside that, underwater grounds or whatever not. So how do we make sure that
actually, you see, now, I think only in the third world countries, as Pakistan is one of them, in the developed, I think we need to, there's a lot to be done, because now the world is going for the greenhouse, I would say, green buildings, hotels. That's been the, there is a proper system for, and basically the major aim is to reduction of the carbon footprint. And also, what you rightly said, that people are just throwing the garbage over there.
True.
Because you see, we need to regulate, and we need to have a government body. And first of all, we need to have a stable government, because at the moment, like there has not been a continuity. That is important, and the law and order and economic condition is also very important of the government, because if there is a stable government, then you are able to I would say, go for regulate things more effectively. The enforcement issue, and then nowadays I think there is economic issue. Let's hope that we will come out of this crisis, and there will be like a prosperity.
With the amount of investments, particularly within the tourism sector, it does not really look like that. Unfortunately, that we are actually facing an economic crisis as well. A lot of my friends have actually invested somewhere in the northern part of the country as well. But while we're at it, sir, there's one mention that I would love to make over here, and that is that Alhamdulillah, Shukr Alhamdulillah, that I've got chance to be at almost all the 5-star hotels over here in the country. Now imagine that there's this one 5-star hotel which I would love to kind of recommend and mention because of their service, their hospitality, their food, everything's top notch. It's the Move and Pick Hotel in Karachi. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would ever get a chance, just go for a vacation. I've done it for myself, because I was so inspired by the kind of service that they offer, that I actually for 5 days just booked the hotel room, stayed over there. I used to swim every single day. There was table tennis, there was indoor golf, there's lawn tennis, there's gym, there's entire facility. The people are so welcoming, and it's so rare to see over here in our country that people are not going to say no to you for no matter what reason.
Actually, you are very right, because if something is good, you will say good. And if there is a bad, obviously bad things will spread like a jungle fire.
True.
And if there is a good thing, it will spread, but with a slower speed. It will get spread.
Exactly.
But what we need to concentrate, actually, as I earlier said, that we should not always be looking towards the government to do everything. We are so many wealthy people. I think looks like the people
but
are.
The only thing, sir, we are looking forward towards the government is that that they regulate it. That's
yes,
it.
Exactly.
We do not
exactly. So the people should come forward, and they are very wealthy people, and they are educated people, and they must adhere to the international standards. That is very, very important, because that is if it is not there, if you are not, like, if I'm just giving you an example, that if we are to like in this building or any building, if we have to install the HVAC, we must refer to the ASHRAE, which is the American, Society of Heating Ventilation. So that's like a Bible. So we must stick to, stick to the international standard. That's very important.
True.
And the training is very important. It should be ongoing, and every hotel must have a a very qualified and experienced training manager.
Right, and I think let's talk about the customer feedback, because nowadays, especially in a digital century that we are living in, it's very important to listen to what your customers are saying. And like Shehzad mentioned, that he has lots of analysis to make, he has lots of voices to opinion on particular hotel. So how important is it for, and do you think that in Pakistan, our hospitality management sector actually listens to your customer feedback, and what sort of gaps do you identify in that?
Because they keep on asking complaints box,
actually, I tell you, actually, you see, it is very, very important, because wherever I've been, there is a system in place which is called 10 to 15 minutes of morning briefing with the general manager. All the department heads sit, and they want to review as to what happened in 24 hours, and the feedback of the guests are read, and that is very, very important.
Okay,
actually, which is actually not being taken, seriously by many hotels. I would say a few hotels, rather, not many hotels. But this practice must be there, and I have done some audit of some premier clubs, and that's what I gave this idea. And whatever my recommendations are, that's being implemented,
And I think as a nation, we have developed this habit that, or we have this habit that we do not complain, we just, take it in ourselves. And we will be resenting within ourselves that, this should be like that, this should be like that. So if you are not satisfied, make sure that you voice out your complaints, and there are people who are actually listening to it, and at least you are doing your part in voicing out your own particular complaint, right? So, sir.
Yeah, and even if we are not voicing it, sir, how do you think that, where do you think is the limit of the customer as well? Because, we have seen that customers at times can be very unusual, and that they can be over demanding, that they, whatever service that they're demanding for is not a forte of the place that they're sitting at. So where do you think that the customer needs to stop as well? Chode ho jate hain.
Misbehaving, yeah.
Actually, I give you an example. There was someone, I just read in a paper where this hotel is, this building is, on the same road, I think Aga Khan Road, right? So there was a gentleman, elderly person, who was taking a walk, and he had a stick. Okay. I'll just answer this question.
Sure,
and he was moving around his stick, and there was a gentleman, it got hit on his nose.
Yeah.
And he said that, what are you doing? You should really not be doing this. You injured my nose.
Yes.
He said it is a free country, and there's a freedom of walk, freedom of movement and everything. So he said, sir, with due respect, your freedom stops where my nose starts.
True.
Yes,
exactly.
That's
so we need to draw a line. That is the problem. The people don't understand their lines. Like what is their boundary line? That is very important. The people must understand.
Exactly. But thank you so much, sir, for being with us. It was so much. It was lovely to be in conversation with you, and that to learn from the best as well, since you happen to be a consultant, for all the international hotels and chains as well, for all the sorts of chief operating officers, chief organizing officers, chief executive officers. It was wonderful to have you over here. Thank you so much for being here.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for
this
inviting me.
energy that you have, this amazing smile that you have, it actually kind of sets the tone for us to be, kind of on the learning part of it as well. But thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much.
And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, this is no rocket science. For whatever you would want to do in life, make sure that you aim for it. But once you aim for it, make sure that you leave space for other people to kind of follow into your footsteps. And this is exactly what Mr. Feroz has done for all of us, representing Pakistan, may it be Qatar, may it be Doha. I mean, I would love to talk about his marine experience as well. Imagine somebody happened to be an engineer, being in the sea as well, and then coming on to the hospitality segment. I think for some other day, we will keep this conversation. But time now for us to wrap it up. Please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of
World This Morning.
On Twitter,
World This Morning.
Without a G. On Daily Motion YouTube, it's World This Morning. And next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you, sir.